This is an onomy podcast.
Hello, and welcome back to Growing Up with Me. I'm Devon Werkheiser. My sister just had a baby yesterday, and it's fucking magical, man. I am so excited. I love my family a lot, and we're super spread out in the world. My sister lives in Australia. My mom and dad are in different states. My family's all in different states. So we live very spread out, but I love my family. And knowing that it just got bigger and that my life is now forever different because my niece is now in it, is really moving for me right now. And I just feel really grateful and excited for everyone in my family and my sister and myself. And that feels really good. And today on the pod, I talk with my old friend Kendall Schmidt. He's an amazing musician and actor. He is part of the boy band Big Time Rush, Big Time Rush was a show created by the Ned's Declassified creator, Scott Fellows. And so Kendall and I knew each other for years as teenagers while I was on Ned's, all of that. And then years after Ned's was done, Kendall got booked on Big Time Rush, and I knew he was about to have an incredible experience getting to work for Scott Fellows. And his show was a little different because there was a band involved that has carried to now. They just went on tour. They're back making new music. Kendall and I talk about that, the band, growing up. We talk about pooping a little bit, so enjoy that bit. Kendall had a lot of great things to say, and I always love seeing and talking with him and just feeling his energy. Kind of since I've known him as a teenager, he's always just been a really kind, even-keeled, grounded person, and that carries through to now. And I'm glad to know him and glad to talk with him and glad I get to share it with you guys as well. So enjoy. Make sure you smash that subscribe, follow button, download it, rate us on Spotify and Apple. You know, this is a new podcast, so to get it out there as much as we can, we appreciate all your shares and likes and follows and all that good stuff. We're on TikTok, Instagram, all the things. So find Growing Up with Devon, and thanks for being here. Enjoy the conversation with Kendall Schmidt. Hey, man.
What's up?
It's been a while.
It has been a while. Your beard looks exceptional.
I really need a fucking haircut.
Yeah.
It's getting
I'm not
ridiculous.
saying, yeah, you do. I mean, like I relate.
Yeah, I need a trim. I need a cut. I was growing it out because I'm getting ready to finish a movie that I need the beard for. But the date keeps getting pushed as
so the
it
beard
does.
keeps getting longer.
So the beard keeps getting longer, and now it's outgrowing what my character. I got to figure it out.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it looks nice.
Thanks, man.
You've always been able to grow a nice beard.
A decent beard. Yeah, you don't know until you reach the point where you can grow a beard, if you'll be able to or not, because it's all fucking genetics.
Yeah. Well, I'm the bearded guy in the band.
Are you? You're that.
At least the only one who can grow a decent beard.
Everyone
and
else
I get
is
a lot
patchy?
of shit for it. I get a lot of shit for it. Dude, come on, you gonna shave? I'm like, no.
No, I'm the bearded one.
I'm the bearded guy. I'm Joe Everyman.
Exactly.
We can't all look like that. You know?
We can't all be James Maslow.
Yeah, no, he looks good, dude.
He looks fresh, like a model.
He does look good, yeah.
You're keeping it organic for
I'm keeping
everyone.
it organic, yes, in all ways.
Honestly, yeah, you that's kind of your thing, right?
I mean, I guess, yeah. It's a thing, yeah.
It's a thing. Yeah, cool. It's great to see you. I haven't seen you in a while, since I think I showed up on your porch during the pandemic when things were still weird and we were staying distant.
Right. Remember you said, does anyone have guitar strings or something? I don't know, maybe it was the supply chain. I don't know what it was. It was hard to get guitar strings or maybe something like that. But I was like, I have boxes of guitar strings. You're like, oh, I'll take a box. And I was like, no, I mean, like, I have like a 30 sleeve. You just take the whole sleeve.
Yeah, and I still have them.
I'm sure.
Yeah,
I still have the ones I have.
I really appreciated that. I forget why I needed it so suddenly and couldn't go get them, but you hooked it up.
Maybe Guitar Center was closed at the time.
I think it was something like that.
Businesses were closed or something.
This was like
But I was in
lockdown.
business. I was in business.
Kendall's guitar string shop was
Kendall's
in business.
Guitar String Emporium.
So for people who don't know, Kendall and I mean, we grew up together. We grew up as we spent our teenage years.
We go back as far as you can. Well, I mean, not to babies. But
not to babies,
far.
but like young teenage dudes in LA, out here learning guitar, acting, auditioning, smoking weed. Yeah. And we both got to be on shows and spend years of our lives with Scott Fellows.
We did. What a pleasure.
Yeah. So Scott Fellows, who created Ned's Declassified, his show after Ned's Declassified was a little show called Big Time Rush.
Was that the next one that he?
I think he did like an animated something.
Right.
But Big Time Rush was the next hit. The next Scott Fellows smash.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure the story was they were looking for a music thing.
Yes.
Nickelodeon was looking for a music thing, and they asked him to just come up with something.
Yeah.
And he's like, I got it. Oh.
And he came up with Big Time Rush, the boy band.
That's right.
And now you guys have carried on till present day.
Oh my gosh. And in between, so much, just a lot.
Up, down.
I mean, all of the above. It was like, it feels weird being back now because it feels like just like old times.
Yeah.
But then sometimes I have to like remind myself like, oh, wait, there was like a lot of in between.
Yeah.
Because
you guys filmed the show for 3 years?
For
3, 4?
something like that, yeah. Four
then
maybe
you-
5, I don't know.
We're still touring and making music after the show for a bit of time.
A little bit,
right?
yeah.
And then you guys took a huge gap in between.
Yeah, they kind of ended at the same time. Maybe we did one more tour after our last episode.
Cool.
It was the South American tour, I think.
Yeah.
That was the last one. And then that was 2000, I want to say 14, I don't know, maybe 13. And yeah, then in between there, I did Heffron Drive and can continue to try to tour and make music and ups and downs and everything. Fell in love.
Yes.
Which is the most important part of it. But yeah, it's been really fun getting back together. It's just kind of trippy.
How did coming back together like happen? Because you guys just went on tour.
Yeah, we just went on tour. I've sort of always been, the guys would probably say this as well, that I've been the most sort of like pokey about, come on guys, like, let's do this. This is great. Like, I just know people are going to love it, and people did love it. And I'm assuming they're going to some will still love it. And then we can grow even further. And we talked a lot about it over the years. I had many conversations. If I was seeing each one of the guys, it would come up once in a while. And then we actually seriously started talking about it in 2019. And then really like establish, okay, we're doing this and here's our team and blah, blah, blah in December. And then the pandemic, and then the world shut down. But it was kind of a weird blessing in a lot of ways, because I mean, I'm sure there's probably some people who don't have any silver linings to it, but there was a silver lining for us, which was it gave us time to sort of figure out, okay, how is this actually going to work? And then what's new music going to sound like?
Right.
We did a lot of Zoom sessions that, no offense to anyone on them, but I don't think anyone was really, we all tried. It just wasn't working.
You tried to Zoom session
recording sessions.
Oh no.
Which how hard it is to write a song anyway. Sometimes it isn't, but
yeah, and with 4 dudes and lining up singing and lag and over Zoom,
people are like
terrible.
When people start doing like the making up melodies.
Yeah.
With other people, and then there's like 4 or 5 different lags that people go.
Yeah, you're trying to hit a harmony,
and you're like,
but
oh my
if there's
God,
a little
I gotta
lag,
get
you're gonna
out of
lose
here.
your fucking mind.
Terrible. So it gave us some time to figure that out, and then by the time everything calmed down a bit, we started doing in-person sessions again, which made it all happen. But the whole process was like, our first show was in December 2021, so 2 years later, was when it actually came to fruition.
Yeah. And how was being on tour? I saw some clips. You guys were in some like stadiums. It looked like some big
ones on this
big
one, yeah.
venues. Was this a Mexico tour or all North America?
The first 2 shows in December were just 2 shows.
Okay.
We did a couple Jingle Balls as well.
Okay.
But we didn't want to put a whole tour on sale without knowing, like, is anyone going to come?
Are they back? Yeah.
You know? So we did the 2 shows sort of as like I don't know, will anyone show up?
Yeah.
And they sold out immediately.
Amazing.
So that was like, oh, okay,
they're here.
People are here. They're paying attention. And then in the meantime, the show got added to Netflix. We had nothing to do with that. They just added it.
Oh, that's
so that
perfect
was
timing.
very lucky. I think all of them did.
Yeah, Ned's got up.
That was
there
like a
too.
big, I don't know, some big deal that Nickelodeon made or something like that. But
yeah, which we don't see a penny.
Which we don't see a penny of.
Yeah,
that's okay.
It's fine.
That's
it's fine. I'm fine. I'm doing fine now.
Yeah, I'm not worried.
I'm fine now.
Why are you worried?
I'm having a garage sale next week. Everyone come.
Those can be pretty lucrative, actually, depending on what you got.
That's right.
So the shows did really well, and then we said, okay, well, let's plan a tour.
Yeah.
And then that was 44 shows, which included 3 in Mexico. So it was 41 in the States, which was, again, you're there, and then you go, yeah, this is like totally normal.
Yeah.
Yeah, but just like being back on the, I don't know, euphemism.
Yeah.
Bus.
Yeah.
Literally being back on the bus.
On the tour bus, yeah.
And it was weird. I mean, it was like it all went so exceptionally well.
Good.
And had a great time, and
good.
It was different getting back on the road again, and
yeah.
I took my little creature comforts with me, and all that kind of stuff, and it was great.
Awesome, man.
Yeah.
I mean, life comes in these cycles. I think the older we get, the more you just get familiar with it. I think it happens in any life, but especially when you're like pursuing creativity, it doesn't happen linearly, and it comes in these weird cycles where things return years later that you thought maybe were gone.
Right.
Will
like
they come
style.
back in the same way? Yeah,
like style.
Like fashion comes in and out.
Yeah.
Yeah, and our lives like move like that. I mean, fuck, right now I'm like making a Ned's rewatch podcast and like reconnecting with Lindsay and Daniel from Ned's and like going over the show, and it's a trip to be like 20 years later bringing
it back again,
this audience, this time in our lives, like, and creating from it. Strange.
Well, what I think is something I was just thinking about was like, would a person even relive something if it wasn't truly great? And I think that's why you're doing that, because clearly you had a great time.
Yeah.
If it was a really negative experience,
yeah.
overall, you'd be like, I don't want to touch it. I don't want to
course.
get anywhere near it. And
Of
it was
course.
the same for the band, where we had a great time. There were, of course, troubles and problems and arguments and conflict of all sorts. But like, we had fun, so it seemed like, I don't have a problem reliving a good time again.
Yes, exactly. Yeah, no, if it was an awful experience, like, no, you'd be leaving it.
Yeah, you're like,
in
I don't
the
want to do
past,
it.
like all of your ex-girlfriends.
Right.
Like,
exactly.
I'm not
I don't want to talk
revisiting
about that. And maybe it's just because I'm not very good at that. That's a little side note, is that, some people are really good about handling, oh yeah, this is my ex, when they have their new partner or their current partner or whatever.
Yeah.
I've just never been good at that.
I'm personally not either. I'm like, no, we had our time, and now our time is done.
Yeah. Like Mika and I could run into like my 16-year-old girlfriend, and I would still be like, ugh, I don't want to.
Okay, no, that's
and
too
it's
far.
not
I
because
wouldn't
they're
be
a bad
awkward about that.
No, not because they're a bad person. It's
Yeah.
just I'm just
Yeah.
not good at
I
conflict.
dated her once.
Yeah. Oh God. Yeah.
Are you and Mika married? Did you guys get
No,
married?
but we're engaged.
Okay, congrats.
Yeah, we're getting married.
Congratulations.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
Yeah, that's been a long time now.
Yeah, we've been. It's been like 8 years or something like
Beautiful.
that. Yeah.
Did she come on tour with you guys?
She came for certain
chunks of it?
Yeah, like whenever it was convenient. If there was a couple days off in between, you know, it's like not, as a passenger, it's not really that great.
That makes sense.
When you're doing it, it's because you've got other stuff to do. You've got meet and greet, and
right.
There's things, you have to. We're talking about other band stuff all day and like all that kind of stuff. But if you're just a passenger, it's like you're
kind of just waiting around.
Just waiting around, and you get to see a kick-ass show every night.
True.
So that's kind of cool.
I had Spencer Sutherland on the show.
What, did he talk shit?
No, he only talked great things. So he opened for you guys on the tour. I mean, he said the tour changed his life. Like he said,
it literally did. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he said it set him up to sell out his own headlining tour. And like, no, he was unbelievably grateful and said it was incredible. Him and I met on a fucking airplane.
Going where?
I was flying back from Philly from my grandmother's funeral. This was like 11 years ago, dude. And I met him on an airplane. He was a fresh face, like blonde tips, frosted tips, with his manager next to
How long
him.
ago was this?
11 years ago. Or
oh
something.
wow,
like long time ago.
Oh, wow.
He was still living.
I
in
can't even
Ohio.
I can't even imagine Spencer 11 years ago for some reason.
He wasn't himself yet, right? He was kind of what we all were at a certain point in our development, which was like an amalgamation of what we're trying to be to the world.
Right.
We're not ourselves yet.
Yeah.
We're like trying to be something. We're
I mean, blonde tips just like throws me way off.
I know. He hadn't found his swag yet, but
not that I would put him past it now, but it would be done in a different way.
It would be done in a different way.
You know?
Yeah.
It'd be like beautiful highlights or something like that.
Exactly. Nah, he spoke very highly of you guys and the tour, and I mean, he said it changed his life, so that's pretty powerful.
You know, he's one of those guys that it was really impressive to see, because when you open for somebody, it is what you make of it. You know,
Sure.
If you he spent all the time seeing fans, talking to people after.
Yeah.
You know, getting a bunch of people together after the show and kind of just like shaking hands and giving hugs and taking pictures, and you know, and also besides the fact that he's extremely good looking, very, very talented.
Yeah.
Songs are cool. He's got an amazing voice.
Crazy voice.
And all those things would be great, but when you add in that he's such a good performer, because that's what it's really about.
Yeah.
You know, there's plenty of artists who don't have like crazy voices, but like they're not like doing riffs and runs and all these kind of things, but they perform.
Yeah.
You know, even if it's an alternative music, you know, if it's alt enough, then you better perform like that.
Yeah.
You know, rock and roll would be cool.
Yeah.
And he nailed it.
Yeah.
He nailed it.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of him for that too.
Yeah.
I mean, the fact doing your own tour after, I mean, I know how hard it is to do a small tour like that. And selling it out is a great look.
Yeah.
Having any shows sold out is a great look, let alone like, I think it's almost all of them.
Yeah. He's
At
almost
this point.
sold
And by the
out.
time it comes up, it'll be all of them for sure.
And that's a cool little like leg up. You guys were able to give. First of all, he's great to open for you guys, so it works out for your guys' tour. But then it's this cool like reciprocal.
Did he
thing.
mention how I met him?
No.
So I guess Logan had known him a little bit, and maybe it was the same way, but he works out at this gym in Studio City.
Mm-hmm.
And then I signed up for the gym, and Logan and I would typically go together because when he's in LA, we're like 4 blocks from each other. So I'll come get you and we'll go.
Yep.
And Spencer works out in the gym. And there's this guy, and then he like came up to Logan one time and was like, "Yo, what's up, dude? Good to see you." "Oh, good to see you, man." I'm like, "Hey, I'm Kendall. Nice to meet you." And then I just only saw him at the gym until we were on tour together.
No way.
Yeah.
I love it.
Until we were on tour together.
You know each other as gym bros, and then you're like, hey,
yeah, I mean, he
we're
gets in
both
there. He works
performers.
hard.
Yeah,
you know,
he's pretty shredded.
He's pretty shredded. And we would talk about it. And then one time when it actually was like happening, like, you know, amongst the crew, we were talking about who we're going to have. And then his name came up. And then that was like going through the process.
Yeah.
I would like see him at the gym, and I'd be like, you know, I don't want to talk to him, you know, because I don't want to give anything away. Maybe,
right,
you know, because it's
right.
not, even though I'm in the band, it's not just my place to like
course.
divulge information about everything.
Yeah, not until
and
it's real.
I'm an oversharer, so that's something I've been accused of many, many times.
Tell me everything.
I will.
Okay.
I will tell you literally everything. I mean, we were just talking about shitting in a hole.
It's true.
Earlier before we got on this podcast.
It's true. Before we started, Kendall was telling me about driving across the country during the pandemic when things were scary, and he didn't want to stop at a rest stop, you know, because of germs. So him and his girlfriend digging holes and pooping outside.
Yeah, they're called cat holes.
Is that what they call them?
Cat holes, yeah. Because it's like dig it like a little cat.
I got it.
Get it? We had a really nice, like,
You had
beautiful
a system.
green shovel.
Yeah, you had a nice shovel.
Yeah. It was difficult depending on where you were.
For sure. You need ground that you can get into.
soft.
You need a little privacy area.
Yeah. The privacy was fine, but sometimes digging the hole, especially when, if you got to go.
Damn.
You're like,
This is good bonding for you
yeah.
and Mika.
So anyway, I overshare, and I would see him at the gym. And finally, one time, I asked, I was like, if I say something, is it weird if I say something? He's like, no. And then I was like, hey, good, we're gonna be seeing you on tour, all that kind of stuff.
Sure,
it was great. It was great.
He's good people. Yeah.
He was also living it up because they rented it's called a bandwagon. So it's basically like an RV that's more converted for touring purposes because there's multiple bunks.
Yeah.
But it's a big RV, and when you go in it, it looks like an RV.
Yeah.
And they were just living that life. It was like,
fun.
it felt like Almost Famous a little bit. Like I was seeing it from their side of the band together in the kind of beat up.
Yeah.
And no offense to Bandwagon, it's a cool company. So, I mean, I don't know. Shout out.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do I even need to shout them out? Whatever. Bandwagon. Sure. So they were living that camper life, I
love it.
Staying up late, I'm sure. And
I want to do it at some point.
Sharing driving and all
I
that.
never reached a music level where a tour was necessary. I stayed in LA shows.
Well, if it makes you feel any better, touring is incredibly difficult to get to.
For sure. Yeah, no, for sure.
It's incredibly difficult to get to. And I was even thinking about, with Heffron Drive, we haven't made music in a long time, but I was talking to Dustin about that. It's let's just make some shit up. Let's just have fun some other time. I mean, I got a long list of things that I need to do, but
yeah,
I want to get there at some
some
point. It
could
be next year, could be the year after. I don't know.
Yeah.
But the one thing that I said is I was like, dude, we're not touring unless there's a reason to.
Yeah.
Because touring when, there's only so many small rooms. I mean, if you go if it's a certain size, you're just losing money hand over fist.
Yeah. No, you need to have the demand.
It needs to be somewhat big enough to afford getting to Chicago.
For sure. Yeah.
And we did that sometimes, and then sometimes it wasn't like that, which was really, really hard to swallow.
Yeah.
Especially coming from
Big time
really
rush,
big shows, and then being like, whoa, this is crazy. So anyway, I was like, yeah, I'm not, if we make music, we'll make music. Yeah. And if something pops, great, we'll go tour. If not, let's just keep making music and it'll be fun.
Yeah. When you were younger, when you were growing up, what was your vision for your life, and are you living it? What did you want to be? What did you want?
I guess I imagine myself in some ways being a biologist in the Amazon or something like that.
Okay.
Which I couldn't
So
be
you're
further
not doing
from.
that,
I'm
huh?
not doing that.
On the side?
I was always such a big animal guy, and unlike all my other friends at the time, I was really into gardening, animals, plants, just all that kind of stuff. I was I just liked Mother Nature and all that, and I thought it'd be interesting to be a researcher or something like that. I did not envision, which is funny, I did not envision being in a band. Maybe in my later teen years, I thought when I was making music, I was like, yeah, I'm gonna be in a band, it'd be cool. But I don't know. I think maybe you can relate to this a little bit, that, of course you can relate to it, when you are starting at such a young age, it kind of just feels like what you do.
Yeah.
It's just what I do.
Yeah.
I'm sure you got asked, oh, your parents put you into this or all that kind of stuff. And for me and for my brothers, it was always no.
Yeah.
It was purely driven by just an interest to do it. And my parents were cool enough to give it a shot.
Right.
They
Support
weren't
it.
You're carrying this family. You need to, it
Yeah.
was nothing like that.
Yep.
But, I started when I was 5. And so even though I had these biology being a biologist, or I wanted to be like Steve Irwin, really,
Cool.
All those aspirations, which now I think about it, I could have been on TV, Steve Irwin.
Right.
Just like that. Could have done something like that later. But no, I guess I didn't really envision a lot. I kind of just had always been in entertainment, and I figured at some point maybe if I got lucky or tried hard enough that it would work in a way. Don't know how. It worked at all. I really don't know how any of it worked. I don't have any advice to give.
Yeah, no,
I don't have any advice to give about anything because I don't know how it happened.
no, that's real. Sometime, forever, I'll get messages from people who ask, like, how do I get into acting? How do I get an agent? How do I break in? And I don't know what to tell anyone. It's like,
Don't know, especially now. I mean, back in the day, you could have said, "Hey, find a manager, and they'll get you auditions."
Yeah, especially not now. And even then, it's like, I don't know. Everyone's path, you enter it differently, and it seems impossible. Like, there's like an invisible wall that you have to make with connections, the right agent, the right manager, any manager, someone to get you auditions.
I wouldn't even know who to call, to be honest with you.
Exactly. Same.
Isn't that weird?
It is weird.
What's your advice? I don't have any advice.
Except do it. Except like find your way and do it.
Well, it's like you would. There's a huge aspect of timing.
Huge.
I got to give a lot of credit to my manager that I had at the time when I booked the show. I really didn't want to do it. I didn't want to do the audition because it was called Untitled Boy Band Project, and I was not interested.
Yep.
Because I was thinking I was going to be in rock and roll.
Yeah.
Because,
At that time, Kendall and I knew each other. So I had come off Ned's, and we ended up like kind of in a similar friend group, like in our teens, like 15, 16.
Yeah.
And
I partied at your house a lot.
Yeah, for sure. And Jesse's.
And Jesse's.
And Kendall and I would like hang out in a similar circle, and like you were always playing guitar and singing covers, Sublime, Dashboard Confessional, like all the
It's a short list.
Yeah. Third Eye Blind, I don't know, all the hits.
Taking Back Sunday.
Sunday.
Yeah.
And so like I always associated you with music, but then I remember when the Untitled Boy Band Project came out, I can't remember if I was even allowed to audition because it was a Scott Fellows coming off Ned's. I think I might have been, but
I wouldn't be surprised if they were like, yeah, why not?
Right, but I think I had the same feeling as you, which is like, I don't want to do a boy band.
No.
But turns out it's a good thing you did.
Well, I guess in a way, I figured that I would lose all sense of any identity that I had. And in a lot of ways, which I don't think I had a lot of identity.
I was just gonna say,
18.
you're 17-year-old.
But you could be really bullheaded at that age.
Of
course.
You can. Dude, so stubborn.
Think you know everything, which will be something I'll bring up many times in this podcast. I'm not sure there's an age where you do.
Yeah.
And I ended up retaining that, whether it was by accident or whatever, or maybe the way Scott had written it. I kind of maintained sort of like the not boy band guy role in it. And even now performing, I mean, I think I'm sort of like, if there's a spectrum in the band, I'm like the rock spectrum.
Yeah.
And then over here we have like a very pop guy. And then Carlos is very musical theater, and he'll admit that. He loves musical theater.
Yeah.
So his performing is amazing,
Yeah.
And James has always been in performing arts schools, and he's like very technical and detailed and all that kind of stuff. So we have like this.
Got a little spectrum.
Yeah, we have a great spectrum. For the band, it really worked out. But yeah, like I was saying, my manager said, just go, come on. I don't know if you ever met David Eisenberg back in the day.
I don't think so.
But shout out David Eisenberg. He was an excellent manager, but he was like, just go, give it a shot. And I was like, shit, okay, And then I got a call back, then didn't hear anything. So I thought that was over. And then I got another audition again, like 6 months later, which I had a broken hand, and I was in a cast. I don't know if you remember when I was in a cast.
Vaguely, yeah.
But I mean, the real story of it is, and now I'm when I was younger, I used to be embarrassed by this story, but now I'm 32. I don't give a shit. My dad was really angry at me when I came home and I was smoking weed, and there was this big family discussion going on. And he was like, "Where were you?" And I'm like,
cross-eyed.
I remember saying, I don't want to do this family conversation right now. Like, I was like, I'm not into it. And he was like, must be nice smoking weed all the time at 18 and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, fuck you. And I ran into the room and I punched the wall. Broke my hand.
Angsty
One time,
angsty kid.
One time, guys, I am like the calmest. I'm not that guy.
Yeah.
But angsty teenager Kendall one time punched a wall and broke his hand.
Wow.
I didn't even get through it, which was really kind of a bummer.
Sad. Yeah.
I hit a stud.
Oh, wow.
So just cracked it.
Yeah, that's perfect.
Anyway, circling back to the audition.
Then you're in an audition with a broken hand.
You know, and I'm like, they're like, sing a song. So I'm like singing Fall Out Boy, you know, like this with my cast on. And then I got another call back. And then it was like another long wait, 6 months or so. I don't know.
Wow.
4 months. It was just like, it took forever.
Yeah, long waiting.
Know? And then I had network, and then they did like a boy band boot camp, which was like 3 days of
learn some choreography.
Learn choreography, sing for a coach, act for an acting coach, which I know, and it's going to kill me because I'm blanking on the acting coach's name, but you would know her. She like did a lot of Nick stuff all the time.
Kaylee something?
She might have even been like, sometimes she was like the coach on set. Did you guys ever have one?
No, we had Scott Fellows.
Yeah, that's good enough.
He just gave us line reading.
He's too much already. But
he just told us how he wanted it said.
Like one little memory that always sticks out, and it's so stupid, but it's just like, I remember doing the scene, and it was like talking about something, you know, like the line was like, you know, how we were back in Minnesota or whatever. And I was like, how we were back in Minnesota. And she goes, where are you pointing to?
Hi.
Hey, what's up, dude?
Hey.
Okay. He was the previous guy. Cool, dude.
Tight. Todd, pleasure. Anyway, I remember going like this and pointing backwards. And she goes, where are you pointing to? And I was like, I don't know, Minnesota.
Yeah. She's like, you don't need to do that.
You don't have to point to anything. We get it. You know, and I was like, wow, that's actually surprising how simple that is. So anyway, I failed the dancing part. I passed the singing part.
Yep.
Again, I sang
No
Fall Out Boy.
surprise.
I think I sang, which again, it was a surprise for me, by the way, because it's not like I was one of those kids who grew up in choir or sang a lot.
I know, but
you know what I mean?
Yeah, but hearing how much you would sing, like when we were hanging, it's like, that doesn't surprise me. You passed the singing.
God bless.
That's right. That's right.
And I passed the acting thing. I was like, if I don't pass the acting thing, this is stupid. What have I been doing my whole life?
Yeah.
At least a little bit.
Exactly.
You know? And then I booked a show, and it was just kind of a wild. I mean, it's trippy even thinking about that. You know, when you go to the set every day and all that.
I know
how much it is a huge part of your life.
Oh, it becomes the driving thing in your life.
Yeah, and it was funny at like 18, like coming back at 9 o'clock at night, and walking in and seeing my family, being like, is there any food? And it's like, yeah, there's some food left over, and have some food, and then go to bed.
Yeah.
And then wake
Get
up at
and
6
do it again.
and do it again, which again, that's like any job. But coming from, I never really had a job, so that was like,
yeah. And then working on set is, it's the best. I love it so much.
Yeah.
It's super fun, but it's
a lot.
Takes your it's a lot.
Yeah.
It's 12 hours of like all your energy.
I always feel like I have to be really conscious about. I don't ever want to sound like I'm complaining when I talk about being in a band or having to do this or whatever. But it doesn't negate the fact that some things are difficult. And by the way, I think for a lot of people, even standing on stage would be an impossibility. So it's like it takes some gumption.
Yeah, takes energy.
Yeah, you
when
got to
you get
be up
off,
there.
you feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So you booked Big Time Rush at 18?
Yeah.
Cool. So getting to actually feel like an adult has been a process in my life. To actually feel like, I think at 18 I was calling myself a grown-ass man, but that's hilarious. I was a baby boy.
Yeah.
And then at 25, I started to feel more adult. I started to feel kind of the healthy responsibility of that time and starting to feel like I had the capacity to hold it. But then really it was like turning 30, 31 that I'm like, oh, this is adulthood. This is...
Is it? Is it?
I think it's constantly happening. You're constantly maturing. I don't think there's a finality to it, but I do feel I am in the adult phase of my life for real now.
Right.
And it took a lot of different shit happening. What were some like notable points for you where you felt, oh, I'm an adult now?
Really started happening just recently.
Yeah, I get it.
You know?
That's what I said. Last 2 years.
When I was, so those kind of similar ages, let's just go with those. 18, you know, first of all, there's a little bit of arrogance that comes up because you're like making money at 18 and not arrogant like, hey, I got money, you know, just like I've got it all under control.
Yeah, I got this.
I got it.
Checks coming in.
No idea how to manage any of that. You know, if I could go back in time, I wouldn't change anything. But like, if you know, would you give your young self some advice? I'd say, oh my God, invest. When you're making money, like, I think this might be a little bit more of a curse of. It's definitely a curse of growing up, but I think even more so of being in entertainment because there's not a lot of thought into. A lot of musicians I know are, shit, I'll die making music. You know what I mean? Like I'll go
do this forever.
I'll go to zero and beyond.
Yeah.
To do it. And I think actors feel like, and musicians feel like that a lot of times. Like this is it. It's either it's make it big or die trying. You know, whatever. And I just was never of the mindset of like securing my future later.
Yeah.
You know, because I don't even think you even think about getting old.
Yeah. Not at 18.
What's that going to be like?
Yeah.
And I still feel super young. I am super young. You know, whenever you talk to someone, a lot of older people still call you a baby at 32, which is hilarious. I'm like, I mean, I feel like that sometimes. I feel like super, like, I'm just figuring it all out. But 18, I didn't know shit.
Yep.
And I was just trying to do this show, you know, just showing up and doing it and trying your best. And we made a lot of funny stuff. I think we did really well.
Yep.
And then all the way through the touring. And I mean, it's like not realistic.
Yeah, thinking that it'll go forever.
Well, not just that, but it's not realistic. It's not a good place for an 18-year-old to develop his mentality when you're staying at the Four Seasons and flying. We didn't really fly private, but a couple times. But, you know, always flying first class, having that paid for because that was like Nick and Sony's responsibility, having them pay for that, which ended up, we pay for it anyway. But, you know, it comes back around.
Yeah.
You know, spending money on clothes and having a nice car. I mean, it's like, why shouldn't I have a nice car at 18, you know, and all that kind of stuff.
Yep.
And now I look back on that and just is like so insignificant and it didn't matter at all. You know, I mean, I drive a Subaru now and I'm so happy with it.
Dude, I still drive the only car I've ever had. Got it at 17.
You know what I mean?
TC.
It's just like, I think the whole mentality, that maybe is the getting older part that I have noticed is the being more frugal. I mean, that doesn't happen to everybody, but at least it happened for me. And that was a byproduct of not having as much money as I used to have.
For sure.
You know, so eventually you either got to like make some cuts or you're really going to go to zero.
Yeah.
And I will tell you that was definitely not, I was like, I definitely don't want to go to zero.
Yeah.
You know,
I went to zero.
You did?
Went to zero at 25.
It's like, I would leave before
I was living the lifestyle I'd always been living, which wasn't extravagant. It was just
because you were
free.
making money, but it wasn't like, I mean, people should understand this, by the way. When you're on a TV show on Nickelodeon. And you're 15 or 18 or whatever, you're making money, but you're not making lifetime money.
Yeah, you're not making money that lasts forever.
So sometimes, in a lot of cases, myself included, sometimes it doesn't even last 10 years.
Right.
And people think it's, you know, like if you won $1 million lottery, it's okay. Well, you're still going to have your job.
Yep.
You're not going anywhere.
Yep.
You might be able to put a down payment on a house, and
you can if you make some right investments with
if you make the right investments,
that's not quit your job.
But if
money.
you make $1 million and then you don't make anything after that, that
lasts you how many years?
Yeah. Especially when you live a little bit elevated lifestyle. And again, I don't think either of us were.
I wasn't extravagant, but it was free. It was like I could. Yeah, I was living a certain.
You wouldn't
lifestyle.
think about going to a dinner. You just would go to a dinner. Yeah.
Exactly. And then I went to zero because checks stopped coming in, and I didn't adjust my lifestyle because I was like, no, I'm gonna book.
Were you in the process of adjusting the lifestyle as that happened, or was it like, oh shit, and then?
I was sort of in the process of adjusting the lifestyle, and then it was like, oh shit, I'm at zero.
Zero. Yeah, I mean,
frightening.
I'm not gonna lie, I got pretty close.
Yeah.
And there's been so many, I don't know, it's like by the seat of my pants. My brother always says jelly side up. He thinks that I land jelly side up.
Wait, explain that to me.
So it's like if you drop your toast, you don't want it to land jelly side down because it's going to get...
Oh, jelly side up. You get lucky. Your jelly is not on the floor.
Right.
I got it. So you're getting lucky. You're landing jelly side up. I've never heard that. I like that.
And I don't know, maybe it's lucky, but also maybe it's a mentality thing.
Yeah.
There's a little short story where the one time I've ever had an astrological reading, it was with Tara Strong's mom.
Okay.
Susan Strong. And she I think still is like a renowned astrological medium. I don't know what you'd call it.
Okay.
And she said quite a few things. It was on my 23rd birthday. And my ass is getting numb. Sorry. It was on my 23rd birthday. And she mentioned a couple things that I think one of the things she said about love was that Mika was coming, even though I didn't know that that's what that was at the time. I can look back and be like, oh, well, that makes sense. I thought I had my sunglasses on. For a second, I was feeling like this. I was like...
You felt a little tickle?
Oh, I felt a little tickle.
That was me.
Can you imagine me sitting here with my sunglasses on the entire time?
Yeah, you could do it. I think Keith, my homie, wore his sunglasses just on the pod the whole
Oh,
time.
good.
So
That's fine.
You could live that life.
I thought about it.
You could be a rock star.
Driving over here, I was like, maybe I'll just wear my sunglasses.
Yeah, you could be that cool.
So she said something about love, and I equated that later on to Mika. But one thing she said, and I know it sounds kooky and stupid, whatever, but she mentioned something about, she was like, the next few years of your life, everything is going to change. The way you make money is going to change. And I thought that was like, oh, I'll just make money in a different way. It turns out it was like, you'll make less of it or none. She said something like, but don't, and again, she's got all the info written out, She goes, but don't like worry about money. Like don't stress, not stress because we all stress about money, but don't like count yourself out because it'll come again.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like sort of like it comes in waves, and don't stress out when it's a low part.
Yeah.
Just like keep the faith. You're not going to, my astrology reading is telling me that you're not going to have to worry about it.
Right.
And now of course I worry about it still because I'm thinking about, well, I want to make sure that that's set up like for when I'm, retiring, which there's no such thing as retiring, I don't think, in entertainment.
Anymore.
But
yeah.
I mean, what would I retire to do?
Right.
Woodworking or something like that.
Yeah, you could do it.
Which I would want to do anyway right now. But I kind of took it to heart, and I know it sounds silly because it's like you could say that to anybody. Just don't worry about money, and then they go, oh, well, now I got nothing, so I'm a little worried. But I don't know. I kind of just believed it, and maybe it was that little bit of extra faith.
Yeah.
That like if I just stayed positive,
yeah,
that it would be okay.
Yeah.
And through all of it, even though I was very, very stressed, quite a number of times, and for many years, I kept the faith that it would be okay in the end. Yeah. Even if I had to go do something else, I knew, like, well, I didn't go to college, but I know I can do anything.
Yep.
And if anything, in being in entertainment kind of taught me that you can do anything if you put your mind to it. Yeah. So I just kept the faith. And now I'm just trying to rely less on faith. You know what I mean?
Yeah. You've had the faith.
I've had the faith.
Now you're trying to have the
literal. The faith worked.
Yes.
And so now I'm trying to not rely on the faith.
Yeah. You're trying to rely on the actual.
Yeah, on the actual, make investments.
Smart.
Investment sounds funny. It's like literally just set up your retirement.
Right.
So that you at least have money when you get older.
Right. Start saving.
We don't need to go. This isn't like a financial podcast, but like, it doubles every 7 years. If you just look it up, it's pretty basic. If you can contribute anything to a retirement account, please, please, please do it. I know you're probably sitting here watching this. Maybe you're 21 years old and you're thinking, retirement account? And why is he talking about that? Just invest in a retirement account, even $1,000 or $50 a month or whatever. Just start. Very important.
Finances comes up a lot on this podcast because, we are talking about growing up. We are talking about adulthood, and
that's when you start to feel like an adult.
Finances are a part. Like, yeah. That's part of it. When you really start like looking at your money, how am I going to make more of it? How am I going to have it in
later?
The future?
Yeah.
Yeah. That is a part of taking on the responsibility of adulthood.
And again, I think a big part of the entertainment aspect of it is because it's just inconsistent.
Oh yeah.
If you had a job,
Yeah, you would just.
like let's say you were working, I mean, I know you'd always have a cool job, but let's say you were working at, I don't know, the only thing that pops in my head is Google. Maybe because it's such a big
cool
company.
job.
But
Yeah.
anyway, you're working at Google somewhere, but you're not like the Google exec. You're just,
Yeah.
you're like, you have a good job at Google.
Yeah.
If you work hard and you do it right, you will continue to
Constantly
work
make
at
money.
Google, and you'll constantly make money. And it won't be like acting money where when it really comes in, it comes in big, you know,
Yeah.
and then it doesn't
Goes
at all.
away for years. Yeah.
It'll be different. So I think because we're in entertainment and money is episodic, it's important to try to do something with it.
Yeah.
I mean, I invested heavily in myself,
Yeah. Yeah.
which
Gear,
doesn't have returns.
gear, studio,
Yeah.
lessons.
Yeah.
For sure. For
Yeah.
sure.
And food. Food's a big one.
Yeah, lots of food. That's what I spent most of my money on.
Food's a big one. Yeah. Well, because we like good, good
I like
food.
good food. And
Yeah.
then buying my friends meals and drinks
Because why not?
because I had it.
Yeah. I used to like,
And I didn't.
I used to pay Dustin to go to movies with me. Not like
What?
actually pay him, but I'd be
That's-
like,
that's
he'd be like,
so
dude,
sad,
he'd be like,
dude.
dude, I can't go
Oh, yeah.
because I don't have the money.
Oh yeah,
and,
Dustin.
and
was,
I would just
Dustin was
like,
broke.
yeah.
So that makes sense.
broke,
You're like,
broke.
I got you. Yeah, Dustin was broke.
By the way, I was broke too. It's not like I had, I ended up going broke
but you
because
could
of
afford
that.
an extra ticket.
Yeah. Well, what's interesting too is that talking about waves, I had Coogan money when I turned 18.
Yep.
And I want to say it was $25,000 or something like
Okay.
that. I didn't really have any other. I mean, maybe I had like $1,000 in a bank account or something.
Yeah.
But anyway, I got that and immediately blew it.
Wow.
Like
Wow.
I probably ran through all that money in 6 months.
That's reckless. That's reckless, bro.
Yeah, and I didn't have a job.
Yeah,
so,
that's reckless. On
so,
what?
Just weed and and paying for dinners and buying guitars and
Yep.
I mean I did buy a lot of stuff for myself
Yeah.
for
But 25 grand can go real
like
quick.
that. And right when I was like about at zero and I was like, oh my God, I actually have to get a job because I forgot I'm 18. I forgot I'm an actual adult.
And then did you luckily like book big time?
And
right
I
then?
luckily booked it right then.
Wow.
Yeah. Right at the precipice of it. Yeah.
Yeah, I had to go get jobs when I got to zero at 25, and it actually was that good, deeper reminder for me of something you said, which is, oh, I could succeed at any job that I
Yeah.
like
'Cause
anywhere.
You're a good person and you work hard.
Yeah, have work ethic. I pay attention, and like I can figure out what the success of that space looks like, and that was a good reminder because as acting roles as I started to book less and less, and that dream felt further and farther away, it got scary because it's like, this is all I want to do. This is all I do. I need this to work. Then when I needed to just go figure out money, it was a nice reminder of, oh, it's not so dire. I want to act. I choose to keep pursuing it. But if I had to go find another career, I could succeed.
Yeah.
I could go find something.
And by the way, maybe the first swing at it isn't like, that's not like the
Yeah.
job, but there's a number of things I'd be happy doing.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, same, to be honest.
I'm not, and again, I think it sounds so, when people talk about like that they're from somewhere else and they dream of doing this and they'd give their left arm for it.
Yeah.
They'd do anything. And there's a part of me now after being in it for so long that's like, I wouldn't do anything.
Yeah.
Because now I don't want to do just anything. I want to do something that makes me happy more than makes me a ton of money.
Yeah.
I don't want to go broke, that's for sure.
But that comes with the experience of having done it and having found your way into it already.
Right.
Because I'm the same. I won't do anything.
I mean, look, I could make an OnlyFans.
Brother, I thought about it. Seriously.
I would pay a lot of money to see your dick.
And I think some other people would too.
Yeah.
And I almost cashed in, bro.
It's not a bad idea. Look, it's not a terrible, like,
No.
there's nothing wrong with it.
No.
I'm
It
just
is-
saying-
It is a way to take your life into your own hands.
Yeah.
and your dick.
into your own hands. Yeah, just in public now.
Yeah. Dude, I really debated it because, man, money's a thing. And I was like, do I just want to cash in?
Money is a thing, and I think the more that technology advances and there's different ways to make money, the more we see how much of a thing money is, because people will do just about anything. And again, not shitting on OnlyFans, whatever. People, hey, that industry has been around without cameras for hundreds of thousands of years in one way or another.
And often not in the person's own hands.
Yes.
That's what's...
So it's empowering and it's great and all that. But where were we going with that? I was going to say, we just got to talk about OnlyFans. I was going to ask you.
Go on.
Speaking of dicks and hands.
It's average size.
Oh, good. Aren't we all? When you were looking for a job,
Yeah.
did you find it difficult because of not having a traditional resume? Like an actual, you know what I mean? Like, not an acting resume?
Yeah, but like an
resume?
actual, here's my experience in life resume.
Yeah.
Yes and no, because the jobs I went to were like, I worked the front desk at Equinox, and then...
But did they still need certain information, or was it like, he seems cool and...
My girlfriend was working there at the time.
Okay, so that helps.
I was able to like go and just meet them as a person and be like, hey, I got this. And then the other job I got was through another like personal connection. Friends of mine own a shop, and I was able to meet with them and say like, hey.
Isn't that nice though, at least that there's that, like, because that's one thing I thought about was, I mean, if it all ended, you know, and I had to get a job.
Your resume would be blank.
Nothing. I have
except for
zero. I have
acting.
nothing on my
Yeah,
resume.
yeah.
I cleaned out. I cleaned up shit at my dad's senior care home.
There you go.
That's the only experience I had.
There you go.
But it was pretty brutal, actually, if you think about it.
Yeah.
But I just was thinking about that because it's like, well, what would you do, you know?
Yeah.
Like I have an interesting thing that, you know, Kevin is working in Maryland now.
Yeah.
And he's working as
Kevin
like
is,
basically
Kendall's brother.
my brother. He's basically the director of communications for the whole county. He didn't have a resume.
Right, because he acted always too.
It's always just been in entertainment. And I think maybe it was beneficial that this was, by the way, I mean, every county in the country has a person or should have a person like
I didn't
that.
know that. Yeah.
Every county has a director of communications. So it's essentially someone who understands how to use equipment, can edit together, create a narrative for whatever the you know,
place is,
we've
yeah.
got this thing happening in the county and we need it to be shown on the whatever. He's now created an entire broadcast channel and building and, you know, done multi-million-dollar renovation of a building for the county as the head of it and all this stuff without any, like, shout out Calvert County. I was going to say they're going to be like, he had no experience whatsoever. No.
Kevin lied
What I'm
to
saying
us.
is that he had a ton of experience, but it was in a different way.
Yeah.
It wasn't, you couldn't say, oh, well, I worked for whatever county back in 2009 and I worked for this local municipality back in, it was like, I've been a director and an actor and I've created things from nothing.
Yeah.
And I can do that for you guys too. And he's loving life.
I love
He's
that
got a
for him.
sick job,
Yeah.
you know.
He's out of LA.
Does well, bought a home,
Amazing.
you know. So it's something that it gave me a lot of faith too, that, oh, you know what? Like,
There are options.
there's other options and like
Yeah.
cool ones. That's a cool job.
Yeah.
You know, he lives in a small town. It's different from growing up out here. But
gotta be great.
small town is dope.
Yeah, it has a whole other greatness to
Great
it.
antique shop. He's right on Chesapeake Bay, and there's a coffee place and a little grocery store, and it's like, it's nice.
Yeah, we got options if all this goes.
We got options. And it
Goes-
just goes to say your community was strong, that when you were looking, there were
There were
you
places
know, it's
to
like
go.
people to be like, gotcha.
Yeah, there were
you know?
places to go. Although it was such good learning. I mean, like you said earlier, like an 18-year-old just having money and work and being flown around is not a great place to develop. And I have reflected on that over the years, that like I didn't get what I wanted in my career in my 20s, and instead it kept going down and down and down, and then I was working these jobs that weren't what I wanted to do. But that was, even though at the end of it, I was like, I was more clear on, I want to act. I want to make music. Like, I want to create. That is what I want to do with my life. But it was a great place to develop my character.
Right.
Was not being where I was when I was on Ned's, getting flown first class by Nickelodeon, opportunities and trips around the world and like all these like options and money and whatever, people giving you attention, that is not a great place for a young person to develop who they are.
Not at all.
And I get why so many people who hit major fame young have issues.
Well, I only really thought about that after going to therapy. That was another big step of becoming an adult. Was 26?
Cool.
No, 27, 28?
Cool.
I don't know.
Cool.
It was quite a few years ago now.
Yeah.
And I haven't gone a lot recently, but it goes to show that it really, really helped. It was understanding that the pressure I put on myself for not being where I want to be and for not having figured out things along the way that I now, when in hindsight, would have done. It took her saying, like, you didn't grow up in a normal way. You know that, right? And I was like, well, no. I mean, my childhood was fine. Like, I had lots of friends, and I didn't go to school, but I had school, and I was, she goes, Kendall, you were 6 years old, like auditioning in front of people, and you were homeschooled, and yeah, you had friends, but they were all in the business, and everyone was going through the same thing, and so it wasn't you didn't have a barometer of other people outside of that.
Yeah.
You didn't have like friends outside of acting friends.
Right.
And she's like, it just was a really weird way to grow up, and you shouldn't beat yourself up so much for not having it all figured out. Like, that's not normal. Normally you go to, and not that I'm saying that this is like the normal and best way to do it, like go to high school and go to college and then
kind of struggle through
that's
your
a
early
way.
20s
That's a way. There's many ways to grow up.
Yeah.
And in those times, you're also struggling. You're in school. You're probably maybe partying a bit and maybe not focused enough, or maybe you're not. Maybe you don't have any friends. Like, there's all these different, struggles people go through. Mm-hmm. But it took her kind of telling me, like, what are you talking about? Like,
yeah, let some of the pressure off.
Yeah, that wasn't normal. Like, don't beat yourself up.
Yeah.
You're doing pretty well. Like, you've got a good head on your shoulders, and you're a nice person. And
what led to you going to therapy? Like, what for the first time? Because I know that's a thing. Like, I've gone to therapy, and it's been so helpful. But like, getting there that first time, like, what led to you seeking it out?
Yeah, that was different. Because I had never. I mean, when I was a kid, I went to a little therapy, but that was different. That was like childhood anxiety or whatever.
Yeah.
I think I just felt the crushing weight of it all, I think. And I was also parting ways with having financial ties, or not just that, because it's not just that, but there were like, my family was helping me out, and I hadn't ever really gotten a chance to develop who I was because, not to any fault of them, but because I was having everyone handle my shit.
Yep.
All throughout my dad took, maybe, I don't know if this is illegal to say, but my dad took a driving test that I was required to do because I got a speeding ticket. My dad took it for me because I was busy. Is that illegal? I don't know.
Probably,
well, he passed with flying colors, so all good. But like, I didn't handle any of the business stuff.
Yeah.
I would just sign up for things with my credit card on my phone.
Wow.
And then, like all various things, like signing up for this service or
Yeah.
whatever. And I got meal deliveries now, or whatever it is. And I just never handled it. Didn't think at all about investing. Didn't think, and I just was feeling like depressed, I guess. I hadn't really ever felt everyone's got a different interpretation of what that feels like, but I was feeling very, very low, and Mika encouraged me to go to therapy, and actually she's so sweet, she made me a list of people that she thought, just from either their photo or information about them, would be great. And I called one woman who was like, picked up, and she was like, absolutely, yes. Oh, Kendall, it would be really great to see you, and God bless her. And I set an appointment because I was like, well, shit, that's the first call. I'll make an appointment. And then I talked to the second girl and woman, and she said, I'm talking to her. She goes, wow, that seems like a lot. Like, I would love to see you if you want to chat about it. And I was like,
that feels better.
yeah, this feels better.
Then, oh, Kendall.
Yeah, just like very like this. And I was like, I'm just not into it. She was much more of a straight shooter.
Yeah,
and
that's what's up.
I was like, is it rude for me to cancel on the first? And she goes, no, cancel. What are you talking about? Cancel.
It's your
I was
life.
like, great. Exactly. It's your life. Do what you want. Don't feel bad about it.
Yeah.
Like, do what you need to do. And so, yeah, we had a couple, probably a year and a half, 2 years of really digging into it. And, there was times I would go in, and this is an important thing to note about therapy, is there's times where you go in, you feel like, well, I don't have anything to talk about today. I feel good today. Something always comes up.
Absolutely.
Something always comes
Just
up.
start where you're at. For sure, I've had those sessions where I'm like,
How you feel? I feel
I
good
don't know,
today.
man. I feel good.
Is there anything that has been bothering you at all? And you're like, well, I mean,
Well, there's this one thing.
my friend did this, he didn't text me back or whatever it was. And it's like, man, I just have a problem with people not support. It can go.
Yeah, and next thing you know, you're fucking crying about something with your family.
It's a big relief. And that was the big step up. I was going to say, as far as the phases go, when I felt like I really gained something it was like 25 or 26. I can't remember exactly. Yeah. I was like, next level up in adulthood, because I went to therapy.
Taking care of your...
Big one, and I'm sure everyone's like, yeah, duh, Kendall, everyone knows this. But I had never thought about the concept of compare equals despair. If you compare yourself to others who are doing very, very well, it doesn't help you at all. It only hurts you.
Yeah.
Like, how on earth is it going to help you?
Yeah.
If you go, so-and-so's doing so well.
Yeah.
Like, why am I not doing well?
A huge chunk of my depression the last X amount of years came from comparison, but it's like I grew up with a certain generation of entertainers, and I had some success that I had. And then in my 20s, I'm like looking over at all these kids I grew up with way more success than I got to. And it was despair. I tried not to compare, but the more I wasn't having the success that I wanted, and the more I was looking over and seeing it in everyone else, is pain every time.
Some people would say, "Oh, that feeling that drives me, motherfucker."
Yeah.
Guess what? It doesn't.
Yeah, not really.
It doesn't.
Really. What drives? Yeah, exactly.
It doesn't.
It doesn't drive you as much as just like feeling stoked about what you want to create and what you want.
Right.
It doesn't drive you as much as just
The
being
saying
in
is
your
not-
fucking journey.
The saying is not compare equals despair. Sometimes
Yeah.
it's compare equals despair. Period. End of story.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
It just doesn't help to compare yourself to anybody, because everyone's life circumstances are different.
Exactly. And you
Some
can't take some part of their life without taking all of it. And
It's also
what you
important to
want.
remember when you do see people who are so successful. I got a couple things to say about this, one of which might be just like, that's crazy. People are so successful, but you don't know what's going on in their life. They could have all sorts of shit going on.
Personal
shit. Could have had a relative that died or whatever, could be dealing with depression with completely unrelated to success, or could have had some trauma as a kid or whatever. The other thing that I started, this like the flip side of it, that I started reminding myself is when you would see someone, and this is typically if you see someone who, I don't think about this when I meet someone and they're like super cool. I do think about this when I meet someone and they're like kind of a dick, or just like, no, I don't have time to talk to you, or I'm too popular or whatever. I always think about, they look so good. I look at them, they're beautiful right now. They're like, they got all dolled up and they look great. And this morning they were taking a huge shit. Like,
Excellent.
if they have good bowel health.
Excellent.
You know what I mean? It's what I have to remind myself, like you'll see like some celebrity and they're like too cool for school, and you like tried to, talk to them or whatever. It's like, it comes up on occasion.
Yep.
And I'm like, ooh, I get that little sting of like, damn, that hurts a little bit. I feel like, that's kind of rude. And then I think, oh, wait, no, this morning they were like,
Yeah, this morning they were vulnerable.
Yeah. They were
having a poop.
You are never more vulnerable than when you're taking a poop.
Absolutely.
And it's just good to remind yourself that everybody poops.
Everybody poops.
No matter how cool it's like, I know you'd like to think your shit don't stink, but roses really smell
Not
like
only
poop.
poops, but, sometimes like they're like wiping and they're like, man, why am I still wiping? They're that vulnerable.
Or it gets on their finger because
it
either
tore. Yeah.
It tore, or you went on the outside a little bit.
Oh, exactly. And then they got poop on their finger. And
Yeah.
that happens to all of us.
And then look at them on the red carpet looking so cool. You know what I mean? So that's what I've had to, that helped me with the compare despair thing. Is like, oh yeah, they just took
They
shit.
take shits.
Yeah, they take shit. They take shit.
I love that. That's great. That's great advice.
We learned it at a young age, but then it comes up later. Everybody poops. We learn that at a young age, and then now it comes up later, and you go, oh, everybody
Yeah, it's a great
poops.
way to level the playing field in your own mind.
Yeah, you're not any more special than
We're
I
all
am.
humans,
we're all
baby.
humans, and we all got to do that. And it's extremely vulnerable being in that position.
We are talking about success.
Yeah.
What is your definition at this point in your life of being successful?
I feel like currently I feel like it could only be better because I already feel so successful. I couldn't possibly be happier. Everything is a bonus at this point. You know, I'm in love. I'm getting married. I'm not getting married like I'm getting married. I'm like, I'm getting married. I'm so happy. I feel like, it's like as far as my partner goes, if I could have her with me for a million years, I would, without a doubt. So that's already covered. Like I'm making some money now, and that's great and everything, but I don't need it for anything fancy. I don't see success in any intrinsic or monetary form. I'd like to pay for myself. But other than that, like success is this. I'm happy. Success is like looking forward to the future and planning ahead and like being excited about it. And, people say, oh, live in the moment. Yeah, live in the moment. But you can be, I do so much daydreaming about things that are totally impossible. In fact, things that I've done in the last 6 months, like outside of the band, where the band helped me do it. Or I got, I was able to make some money and I was able to do something. Like 2 years ago, 3-4 years ago, I was daydreaming about things, and it was so unbelievably out of reach. Like Mika and I would talk about, wouldn't it be great if we could do this, or, but one day, soon, it's going to happen. Like it's going to happen, and it's happened, and still happening, and I feel like that's success, because you could say, oh, success would be if you do very, very well, and you make $100 million or something like that, but like money does not equal success in any way, shape, or form. Money is just money. And I know a lot of really wealthy people who are miserable, and I wouldn't want to live their life at all.
Yeah, same.
So I just want to like be able to travel a bit.
Yep.
And eat good food and spend time with my friends and be in love and have kids and all that kind of stuff. That's success in my mind.
Awesome. My sister just had a baby yesterday.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Is
I'm
it
an
your
uncle.
first uncle?
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Does
I'm uncle times 2 now.
Kenneth
Kenneth, yeah.
has 2?
Yeah.
Awesome.
The Calvary, the recent one was what month is it?
January.
October.
Nice.
October. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm stoked. My sister lives in Australia, so it's so difficult because she's so far, and like I already want to go meet the little nugget.
She's in Australia?
Yeah, dude. She moved to Australia like 7 years ago.
Wow. You know
And
what? That's
her
like that's a
husband's
big
down
dream.
there.
That's a big dream too.
It's incredible. I mean, it's incredible. It's just so far. But yeah, my little niece was born, Luna, yesterday. And
Yesterday.
now I'm an uncle, and like life has changed.
Oh,
I
yeah.
feel it.
Well, I can tell you when you do get down and you spend a lot of time, that the feeling I got was, like I intend to have a very good relationship with my nieces and nephews.
Same.
I had some great aunts and uncles. I don't have I'm not as connected with them now as I would like to be now. And that's not, that we don't talk. It's just that we never developed that.
Yeah. Line of
That,
communication.
yeah, you know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
I love my uncles, my aunts, and we just don't talk.
Yeah.
And that's because that was never really established. And I guess it's also because I grew up out here, so
Yeah.
I was separate
Far
from
away.
them.
Yep.
But I intend to be very, very present in my nephews, and I'm assuming one day nieces' lives. And when you spend time with them, you're like, oh, I can't wait to help him with the hard stuff.
Same. Yeah.
I can't wait to, I don't know how to feel about this, and
Yeah.
I'm so scared or whatever, and
Yeah.
hey, let me talk to you. Like, that's the thing I'm really looking forward to,
Same.
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 Because some things you don't ask dad,
Yeah.
some things you ask your uncle,
Yeah.
because it's embarrassing to talk to dad about it or whatever.
Yeah.
And that's the stuff I'm really excited for.
Yeah, me too, man. I have all this life that I live in creativity and in my dreams and with my pursuits and all that. But Vanessa having a baby is like a different kind of like life and love, grounding and success. Like my mom's a grandmother now. Like my dad's a grandfather now. I'm
That
an
changes
uncle
everything
now.
too.
Like
Yeah.
my sister's a mother now. Like
Yeah.
I'm just like moved that like our life is moving forward in that way.
Look at us now.
Yeah.
Look at us
Especially so
now.
much of my life is like in these weird phases of like, am I still a kid? Because I'm pursuing like unrealistic things and all that. And like my sister is at least got a husband, got a baby. She's keeping the family going. Thank God, because I'm nowhere close to having a baby unless it's a fucking oopsie.
Yeah. Which, by the way, there's a lot of movies about that, and there's such great, sweet movies.
Of the oopsie
about
baby?
the oopsie baby, yeah. There's a lot of great movies
But I'm
about
trying not to have an oopsie baby. I'm trying to have like a baby
Baby
that I planned,
For real.
that I wanted.
Me too.
So,
Yeah.
And hey, you're closer.
We're
You're gonna
talking
get married,
I mean,
man.
it's like there's not like a definitive plan, but
No,
it's
but
like,
I
hey,
bet you are talking about it.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
It's coming up.
Which is trippy because I'm like, absolutely. And then every time I think about it, I'm like, oh my God.
Yeah.
What are we talking about right now?
I'm gonna be your dad.
Yeah.
Before we go, I'm gonna ask you some simple. We're gonna call them essentials, and I just want your quick answer on them. Basically,
Quick?
Okay. These are 3 essentials. Okay, 3 essential music albums.
Radiohead Kid A.
Fire.
This is just, and it's honestly shows up on my Spotify, probably the same. Eagles Greatest Hits.
Epic.
Probably an Incubus album. I'm trying to think of which one.
I'm curious if you have to pick one.
Morning View.
Yeah.
Morning View.
Every time I drive by Morning View Road in Malibu, I'm like,
There it
they
is.
recorded it there. Tight. Okay. 3 essential. Do you read?
I do, but I have a problem finishing books.
Do you have 3? Do you have 3 essential books? I asked my homie Daniel this on the pod, and he goes, "That's the quickest way to make someone look stupid."
Yeah.
Do you have 3 essential books?
Well, let me preface
your
this by
life?
saying I read a lot.
Cool.
Like I read a lot of
Cool.
informational stuff.
Yes.
I just don't read a lot. I mean, I do read books, but I don't read it. I do have a problem finishing them.
Okay.
Because I'll get like 3/4 of the way through and then I just get distracted
You
and
move
I
on.
pick up another one. I will say, love Animal Farm. That's a really interesting thought, that book. Am I saying that right?
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's Ray Bradbury?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yep.
I'm trying to think of what else. I'm reading a few books right now. There's one called by Ezra Miller, or Ezra Klein, sorry, not Ezra Miller. He doesn't write books.
He wrote a book during all this?
Yeah. Ezra Klein is writing a book called I think it's called Why We're Divided. And I'm really interested in politics and stuff like that too. And I'm not like a crazy Twitter.
Yeah.
I don't comment on stuff. I'm observing.
Yep.
I'm taking it all in.
Yep.
That's a really crazy book because it's just like, whoa, if anyone's ever interested in that, like because it feels like we're very divided, or that whatever. And it explains a lot. And it's like, whoa, that's kind of trippy.
Cool.
And then probably Harry Potter book or something like that.
That's fair.
I have like 5 books that I'm like intending to read right now, and I'm getting to them.
Yeah, I'm in the middle. I do that. I get in the middle of like multiple. 3 essential movies.
There Will Be Blood.
Epic.
Great movie. Comedy, Anchorman.
Epic.
Or anything in that
era.
genre. Era. Any Will Ferrell movie, really. There's a couple bad ones out there.
They're still fun.
But they're still fun. And he's just funny.
Yeah.
And what else? Probably, what ones I really like, and I'm not saying it's my favorite, but is this kind of movie, like Oblivion, or like the Tom Cruise movie.
Yeah.
Again, that's not my favorite.
Kind of.
But I love
dystopian
sci-fi.
Yep.
Which is why I like another Ray Bradbury book, 1984.
Yeah.
Or like Fahrenheit 451. I like books like that because it's just like I love zombie movies, post-apocalyptic.
Yeah. Have you watched The Last of Us yet?
I did. I watched it last night.
It's fucking good.
It's pretty tight.
I liked it.
I don't know the game.
I don't either. So I don't know what they're pulling from, but I liked the storytelling.
Yeah, like mushroom zombies,
Yeah.
fungus zombies.
Fungus zombies.
Tight.
Cool. I like it as a concept.
Yeah.
Yeah. I had
yeah,
some fucked
those
up
two.
dreams, though.
Did
after
you?
watching it. Yeah, really fucked up dreams. Okay, lastly, 3 essential, let's say values. 3 essential values in your life. Cornerstone values.
Probably there's a certain level of kindness that I think is required. You know, I think it's important to check yourself. And yeah, like when I say be a kind person, I don't mean it like that. Like be a good person. Don't be a dick. You know, put your grocery cart back.
Dude, I'm with you.
That's so, and it's like that's
you.
just a sign of who you are.
I'm with
And
you.
maybe that's a phase for you. Maybe you're not always going to be like that, but don't be that person.
I'm with you. I take
You
my
know,
grocery
and that's
cart
just like
back.
it's just
I
a
don't
little
leave
level
it
of responsibility.
in
It's
the
just like
parking lot. It's
societal
responsibility.
societal kindness, societal responsibility.
Yeah.
I can't tell you the last time I flipped somebody off or cussed somebody out driving.
Yep.
I'm so unbothered by it. It's not even funny. I just don't care.
Yeah.
I'm going to go where I'm going to go, and you're going to go where you're going to go.
And we're going to figure it out.
And you can flip me off all you want. You can cuss me out, but that sounds like a personal problem to me. You know what I mean? I'm just really unbothered.
Yeah.
Because I'm just trying to live my life.
Yeah.
So kindness is a big one.
Yep. I love that.
Kindness is huge, and
You
that
have
comes in
always
all sorts
been
of different
kind.
ways. Thank you.
Yeah.
Kindness. I think charitable, and I mean like, I give to charity, like that, and the idea of being a charitable person, helping your friends out, doing something just because and not expecting anything in return. I think that's hard sometimes, where you do something for somebody and then you're like, you're not outwardly expecting something in return, but deep down
kinda
inside,
are.
you kind of are a little bit. That's important. Just like, again, that goes to being kind. I guess all these are going to circle around that.
I'm down.
And the other one is like, I don't know, it's just to stay positive. Times get tough. I think, Mika asks me about this all the time, or we'll talk about it. She goes, why are you so like calm about it or whatever? And I'm just like, because I don't know, when I was a kid, like, there was a lot of tension and all that kind of stuff. And I like, my dad who's a wonderful person, but he had times where he would admit himself that like maybe he was a little too angry or whatever. Mm-hmm. And I remember being like 11, and when he would be like, why aren't you responding to me or whatever? And I would say, cause I don't like being talked to in that tone of voice. Right. Even as a kid, I was like, I don't like that, And so I've always just been kind of like trying to stay positive. I don't want to yell at people. I don't want to get up in arms about anything. I will defend you if you need defending, physical or mental.
Yeah.
I'll back you up.
Yeah.
But I'm not going to start a fight for you.
Yeah.
Because I'm not trying to do that. You know what I mean?
Yep.
And when it comes to tough times, I'm always just trying to be like, it's going to get better.
Yep.
Even when you lose somebody, or like, I lost my dog. I mean, I've lost my grandparents, of course, and that was a tragedy. But that's awful. But there's like something different when you really love your dog. That's like a really tough one.
Oh yeah.
And it was like, you just got to get past it. Time heals all.
Yep.
And I also think being negative and having that as not good for your body. I think chronic stress causes disease.
Yep.
So I'm just trying to coast.
Yeah.
I'm trying to coast. I'm trying to be nice. I'm trying to have fun. I'm just trying to live my life.
Yeah.
And I don't have it all figured out at all.
Excellent.
Great.
Thanks for being here.
How did I do? Did I get the part?
We'll let you know. It might be a couple months.
Yeah, just drove down here to Culver City to.
We all have to talk for a while.
Okay,
and there's
cool,
a lot
yeah.
of people reading.
Thank you so much for coming in.
Thank you for coming. Thanks for being here. No, seriously, good job. Where do people find you? Are you on the socials?
Yeah, Kendall Schmidt. Twitter still have front drive for those people who do Twitter.
Cool.
Twitter's kind of still fun.
There's still things
It's pretty
happening.
tight. It's certainly interesting.
Yeah.
That's why I look at it, because it's interesting. Also, you find out about information much faster on Twitter than anywhere else in the world. If there's an earthquake, it's on Twitter before the earthquake is finished.
Anytime I feel an earthquake, I go to Twitter and I search earthquake and I just watch everyone talk about it.
Yeah. Instagram, all that stuff. The band, Big Time Rush.
Yeah, Kendall Schmidt,
Google.
Big Time Rush. Thanks for being here. We are growing up, my
We're
man.
growing up, and I love you so much.
We're in our 30s. I love you too. It's great to see you.
Good to see you too.
Okay.
Come over and come in the house next time.
Yeah, I can be invited in now. I'd love to. Thanks for listening, everybody. See you next week.
Thanks for listening to that Onomy podcast. Onomy is like Ned's Declassified for adulthood. Visit onomy.co for free lessons on personal finance, career readiness, personal development, and more, all taught by expert influencers and creators. We've got everything you wish you learned in school so you can thrive in adulthood. That's onomy.co. See you there.